Good morning and welcome once again to our business community discussions that we do right here on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page. It is an interactive program, so if you do have comments, questions, please go ahead and put them in the Facebook comments. We'll see those and you might even become part of the show, get your question or comment mentioned live. So definitely do that if you'd like. We've got a great program today, but before we get to our guests, let's bring on our regular contributors. Of course, we have Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Market and Digital. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy last Thursday of April. It's hard to believe. It's Saturday.
It's getting away from us already, right?
But it's gorgeous outside. Birds are chirping. It's sun shining. The wind's not blowing. It's a gorgeous day. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Having our program today is just going to make it that much better.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Let's bring on Chris Patrick with Main Street Fort Dodge, whose Facebook page we typically hijack for this program. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, and as always, Jed, you can hijack our Facebook page whenever you want. You do such a great job. We're so excited to, be into our second year of this, and it's still going so strong. So can't wait to listen to our speaker today.
Yeah, he's going to be great. Some of the information that he's going to pass along is really, really good. Let's also bring on Darcy Swan, our representative today from North Central Iowa's Sbdc, out at a convention today, but taking a break so that we can talk together. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to today's presentation as well. And I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the sun is shining here as well. And I am at a conference. We're very socially distanced. It's nice to be with people face to face. But I'll love it when we can remove those distance barriers and be able to interact a little bit more freer. So,
yeah, we're definitely all looking forward to it. Well, our guest today is Ethan Pitt. Ethan is the Tech and Innovation Startup Advisor for America's Sbdc here in Iowa, and they have a new program coming up. So let's bring Ethan on and we'll find out kind of all about this program and what's going on with it. Ethan, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. This is cool. I'm excited. And I love working with Darcy and Kimberly up there. We have several shared clients, so I'm excited to be a part of a presentation with more of their network. So this is cool.
Well, yeah, it's good to have you on. And when Darcy made that introduction last week, I thought, man, this is going to be really, really neat information for folks to be able to learn about and share. So let's talk about the Rural Business Innovators Program. Ethan, this is a brand new thing. And we get to be a part of it. Absolutely.
So I think I would guess that most people know what the Sbdc does, but just a brief refresher. The Small Business Development Center of Iowa, where we work with entrepreneurs of all types and in all different scenarios, right? So we work with individuals as they process through their business ideas. And that can mean a lot of different things, whether it's helping them think through a business plan or develop some financial projections or just develop some new concepts and work through those concepts. So we have quite an extensive network throughout the state, specifically in rural areas. And that's why I bring this up, because the network that the Sbdc has reaches 15 different centers in the state, and most of those centers are in what we would say would be rural places, right? And I think along with many other statewide programs, Iowa does a good job at helping entrepreneurs. But if you don't mind advancing the next slide, I can elaborate on that. So Iowa has this great reputation for developing entrepreneurs through the various programs, Main Streets and Chambers and Sbdcs and the different accelerators and programs in the state. But what we realized internally was that there seems to be a gap of resources for tech and innovation entrepreneurs in rural areas. So I'm from rural Iowa. I'm from South Central Iowa, and I recognize this, as well when I was a director down in that area of the state. Towards when you get closer to maybe the more urban areas like Des Moines or Iowa Falls, Cedar Rapids, places like that, there's a little bit more resources for these types of entrepreneurs, somebody who has a new tech idea or a new innovative concept that they're trying to commercialize or bring to market. And these types of programs and accelerators are available to folks in rural Iowa, and they're very good. But the problem is it's hard for them to maybe reach some of these rural clients. So we decided to develop a new program, Rural Business Innovators, to improve access to resources for these types of rural entrepreneurs, which ultimately helps create wealth in our rural areas in Iowa.
Yeah. So when you think of kind of a new business, it's always interesting to me because we talk to folks and, it starts out with, I have an idea, or I want to be my own boss. And to take that from an idea to fruition of actually starting the business, I think it's a daunting task. And a lot of people don't realize maybe all the things that go into it when they first start walking down that road. That's why they end up talking with Darcy. They end up talking with folks like Chris, and they go, okay, well, how do I develop the financing? How do I get a business plan together? What goes into a business plan? How do I do projections for the year? How in the world am I going to forecast 5 years when I haven't even started, right? All of those things go into it. But I think if it's in the tech sector, maybe there's some added layers of difficulty that go into that, especially rural parts of Iowa. And that's kind of what this is for.
Absolutely. And so you sort of hit the nail right on the head here is, when you have a new technology, I mean, it is hard enough when you have a business idea that's a little bit more traditional, right? Thinking through who your customers are, what their pain points, what they can gain from your value proposition, so to speak. But when you're introducing a new innovative idea or a new technology, that's a little bit more difficult. And it takes a little bit more, I suppose, in-depth research or processing, if you will. And that's what a lot of tech accelerators do across the state or in the nation. But it's hard for those programs to maybe reach rural Iowans with rural ideas. So that leads me into this next diagram here, which we kind of used to create internally to help ourselves think about, okay, so where exactly do we fit in this ecosystem, if you will? So again, Iowa has this elaborate, really good ecosystem when you compare it to other states for entrepreneurs. And you can see here on the diagram, various circles that identify what types of programs exist for entrepreneurs of all types. So we had different metrics that we wanted to measure specifically. Where are these programs and how do they deliver their content to entrepreneurs? And how focused are they on tech or innovation, right? So you can see, I won't get too in depth here, but you can see that the y-axis measures where programs exist and the x-axis measures how the subject matter is delivered, and the size of the circles measure how focused these programs are on tech and innovation. So you can see where Rural Business Innovators fits in, which is that upper right-hand quadrant. Rural and focused on one-on-one sessions, plus a really hyper focus on technology innovation. So that brings me to another point. One of the things that we realized, we conducted a lot of interviews and had a lot of communication with other people who participated in accelerators and that manage accelerators. And there's a lot of interest in one-on-one sessions as opposed to just a classroom setting. So we thought, well, because the Sbdc is very good on that one-on-one counseling. That's sort of our bread and butter, if you will. Let's design a program that leans into our strength, but then also appeals to maybe entrepreneurs who are looking for that one-on-one consultation as opposed to just a classroom setting.
And that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if we're starting a business, there's a lot of really personal information and things that we want to go into when we start talking about dollars and cents that we may not want to share in a classroom setting. And so the one-on-one really provides a great opportunity for that.
Absolutely. So it's interesting because that was maybe the biggest piece of feedback we heard from, hey, you know what, this program is fantastic. Loved it. I wish I had a little bit more one-on-one sessions though. The second thing we heard was, I really enjoyed working with other entrepreneurs and bouncing ideas off of them, as opposed to sitting in just the classroom, but then also saying, oh, hey, you're working hard on your concept too. Let's bounce ideas off of each other. So Rural Business Innovators, we kind of took that approach as well. It's like, okay, well, how do we do one-on-one sessions, but then also incorporate this collaborative effort for entrepreneurs to work together as well? And I'll explain kind of what we do to address that as well. Okay, so here's the heart and soul of the program. Rural Business Innovators provides customized one-on-one counseling and group training to help rural technology and innovation entrepreneurs develop their business ideas and help create wealth in rural Iowa. So we're focused. It is the cookie cutter platform is an 11-week program, although we can customize that depending on the entrepreneur and what they're looking for. But that program involves primarily one-on-one counseling sessions, but then at least 3 other group trainings that we allow the entrepreneurs to present to each other and collaborate with each other as well via Zoom. And those one-on-one sessions can be done via Zoom or in person. We're doing both depending on just how comfortable the entrepreneur is at this time. So we do focus on customer discovery, which is sort of just this fancy phrase of really understanding who your customers are and building your business model around the customer perspective. So that could involve a lot of customer interviews or at least some initial market research as you process through your new idea. But we also go into pitch development and pitch practice because these are new concepts. So delivering a pitch, an effective pitch to a presenter or potential customers is key, right? Because these are new concepts. And then maybe one of the most important elements of the program is we do help participants develop a next step strategy. So they go through this syllabus, if you will. At the end, the capstone is this, okay, now what? What do we do now? A lot of times, you complete a program and you're just not quite sure what to do next. Well, we help develop that next step strategy as they proceed forward. So they get a variety of different deliverables when they proceed through the program too. The main source of communication is this online digital platform that we use to communicate with the participants. It's really a site that's theirs. It's a site that only they have access to and I have access to. And that site contains all the subject matter, all the materials of the program, the homework assignments, the pitch that they complete, the next step strategy. It's a place to store and display those things. But they also get some other things too, like a completed business model canvas and the pitch and a variety of other things that help them proceed through the program. And I'll show you a screenshot here in a little bit of what that looks like. Yeah, so here it is. This is the digital profile. So each participant gets their own profile, and this is where they build their business model on this online platform, if you will. And it guides them through the program. What's cool about this is we can sit on a Zoom discussion and pull up their site and go through the syllabus together and create the content together during these one-on-one sessions as they prepare for their presentations. So.
Yeah. So the great thing about this, Ethan, is this really doesn't feel like it's not just the classroom time. This isn't just sit and listen to a speaker and take some notes. This is get in there, get your hands dirty, learn about your business, and really figure out the nuts and bolts of what makes this business successful, or in some cases, maybe even not successful. And you have to change it a little bit to go, what's the successful business model here? But this is certainly a hands-on program.
Absolutely. That's a great point because so we've started the program with our first cohort this spring. And one of the things that I've realized as we buffer out some of the rougher edges is that, people are at different stages in their startup process, right? So there's in this 11-week process, they're really more like modules. And sometimes an entrepreneur is going to be more focused on one of those modules more so than the others. So we'll just focus on that until they feel comfortable with it. So going back to the customer discovery module or the development of the value proposition module, right? We customize the program around the needs of the entrepreneur, which is really part of the heart and soul of Rural Business Innovators.
Yeah, and it'd be really difficult to do that if it was just a classroom setting. But having smaller groups, having the one-on-one sessions, the mentorships that go along with it, you guys are really able to meet people where they are.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Great. Well, let's talk a little bit about this kit that folks walk away with as well. So what's going on with this kit?
Absolutely. So, you're probably thinking, okay, we got this innovation focused program and now you're sending me a box like with things in it. Yeah, absolutely. So this is another vehicle to facilitate the program, if you will. So every participant gets a box. Inside the box are the materials for the program, a business model canvas, a guide that discusses the subject matter, some different odds and ends that help them with the program. And they kind of get to choose, right? They can choose the hard copy materials or just to move forward with the digital profile. Right now we have 8 folks participating in the program. 2 of them will be using the materials in the box because they prefer to use hard copies as opposed to an online profile. So we're sticking to that customized, we'll meet you where you're at. You can have an innovative concept and not be comfortable with using an online platform, right? And we've realized that even with this first cohort.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that cohort. I understand that it is, everything with the Sbdc, and this is one of the things that we love about them, is that it is completely private. Unless there's permission to do so, you guys definitely don't share anything. But can you give us kind of an idea of some of the areas of technology that folks are utilizing this program to help them build out and adapt? Because it's really easy when we say, technology or digital, those are kind of big, overwhelming terms. What are some of the things that people are utilizing this program to build out?
Great question. Let me back up just a little bit here and say, okay, so our cohorts are small by design because it's a new program. So we didn't know if people would be interested, first of all. But secondly, we wanted it to be manageable in a sense, and the entrepreneurs to feel comfortable with working with each other and revealing some of their ideas with some of the entrepreneurs if they're comfortable doing that. So with the first 8, we have a wide range of different concepts. 2 concepts focused on software and software development, developing an app alongside that software platform. We have a couple ag-focused concepts. One, for example, with producing biochar, or something that is helpful for soil content, something that's involved with cover crop. Another concept related to compost as well. We have a gentleman who is interested in developing a mechanism that makes washing the underside of your car more efficient and effective. So it's kind of all over the place, from actual mechanical elements to software development.
I love that. So this is Iowa, right? And so I love that it's like we talk about this tech innovators, right? But it's still in some cases ag related, and so it can definitely marry those 2 concepts as well.
Absolutely. And I was sort of expecting it to be all ag focused, and then all of a sudden there's this like great software idea out of rural Iowa, and it's like, rural Iowans, they have good ideas.
Yeah.
We need to help them, bring those ideas into fruition, right?
Yeah. So let's take a look at kind of the syllabus, because this will give people a really good idea of some of the things that they might experience if they want to take advantage of one of the future cohorts that you guys might have coming up.
Absolutely. So I won't dive too deep into this because it's pretty content heavy, right? So I'm not following my own advice when delivering a pitch. There's probably too much content here. But I do want to show you that there's a lot of thought in the syllabus. We looked at the best programs in the state that are focused on the urban areas and pulled from them. And what we realized is that there's a lot of emphasis on customer discovery. So you'll see in that first column, there's a lot of discussions on developing your business hypothesis, transforming that into a value proposition, and then testing that hypothesis through a process we call customer discovery, which is interviewing and talking directly with potential customers. So that is a heavy emphasis with the program. In the right column, you'll see more focus on refining that value proposition after you've had a chance to communicate and work with potential customers, and then develop a pitch deck or a pitch presentation for your concept. Just the practice of developing or creating a pitch presentation helps entrepreneurs think about their concepts more deeply. And they do this alongside their business model canvas, which is another strategy to help them think about their concept more deeply. And then finally, in those last few weeks, developing a next step strategy. But you can see by the little icons with the multiple people, those are the 3 different sessions where they get a chance to interact with their cohort members. Once is just to introduce who they are and their concept. Another time to deliver their value proposition and to get feedback from their value proposition. And then finally, a final presentation where they deliver their pitch deck to a panel of folks.
Yeah, so you have already started the first cohort. Where in the process, where in this syllabus are you guys currently?
Well, it's funny because we launched the program and we had several folks who were ready to start the one-on-one sessions. So we started one-on-one sessions before we even got a chance to do our first group session. And it's going to vary because we customize it to where they're at. But right now in the program, for the most part, we are developing value propositions and refining those value propositions with the folks who started early. Next week will be our first group session with everybody jumping on board.
Great. Now, I know that we have some more slides that we want to get to, but I want to bring Darcy in for just a minute because, Darcy, you talk to so many folks, and this is something that Ethan was doing as a director as well, but you guys talk to so many folks who are, I have a new idea, kind of on the front lines. What does it mean to you guys to have kind of this particular program that really specialize in the innovators field?
Huge. Absolutely huge. I mean, we have been our Sbdc had been a partner with the Iowa State University Startup Factory. And one of the things that we found through that program, which is phenomenal, is that it was really difficult for our clients being in rural communities to kind of follow their format because it was very intense of being collaborative. And as Ethan said, you know, a lot of it needs to be one-on-one, and then that collaboration needs to come in at key points. So it's huge because I think we've eliminated some of the hurdles for some of the folks that should be going through a program like that, but can't because of distance, and they already have other jobs and they can't, you know, they're building this other one on the side. I was going to say too that, you know, Ethan talked about folks who are kind of in that startup stage, and Ethan and I just met with a client last week who's got a business that's going along. He kind of fell into a position that he's in, but he never really started his business. And he actually wants to go through the program because he wants to work on his business and really setting a foundation for growth down the road. And so here's a guy who's been operating for about 1.5 years and realizes, I never really started my business. I just kind of started doing things and I never really thought those things through. So I'm really excited for him because even though he's existing, he's still a startup kind of when you look at all the check boxes. And I was really thrilled when he reached back out to Ethan and I and said, hey, I definitely want to be a part of this. So we've got, like Ethan said, a wide variety of situations, and this program is very customizable to exactly what that client needs. And at the end of the day, that's why we're here, to provide those resources and that expertise, because everybody is a different situation. They may be similar, but everybody's got different things going on, and this program will definitely help elevate them and move them forward. So it's a really big deal for us.
Well, big kudos to whoever that person is, because I run into businesses all the time that I know maybe fell into that same situation where the business got started before they worked through many of the things that folks do when they initially start a business. So yeah, big kudos to whoever that person is for recognizing it and, as you put it, working on that business.
Yeah.
Ethan, let's take a look at your website, because you do have the Rural Business Innovators website. So walk us through what we're looking at here. And I did just pull up the website. If there's anywhere you want me to go on this page, let me know.
Absolutely. So if you don't mind scrolling down a little bit. So it's important right on the top. I think it's important to articulate that, myself and the other folks that were on the team of developing Rural Business Innovators, we're from rural Iowa. So we understand, the barriers that rural Iowans have, especially when getting connected to the much greater Iowa ecosystem. So that's, again, part of the core of what this program is about. I also want to mention that it's important that anytime that the facilitators work with a participant, we are looping in those local Sbdc personnel like Darcy, because there's going to be some contextual things about their environment that we're not going to know about, right? So there might be a revolving loan fund that could be perfect for this individual. I'm not going to know what exists in Fort Dodge or in that area, right? So looping in people like you guys is super important to the program as well. So we take that into consideration. We're not just saying, hey, we're participate in our program because we know everything about your startup. That's not the flag we carry, right? We understand there's some contextual things that are important, which is back to that rural Iowan perspective. I find that important. So this landing page is really just a quick landing page that we created just for this first initial start of the program. But it briefly discusses what we talk about. It really displays the cookie cutter generic platform of the program, but know that it's really more customizable than what we display here. It goes through what your online profile will look like, and how we attempt to connect you to a much larger network in the state of Iowa, and then how we help develop that next step support. One thing with the next step support is there are some expenses that the Sbdc and our partners that are helping support the program will help the participants cover. So costs associated with prototype development, for example, or some marketing elements or feasibility studies. Those are some expenses that we will help cover for the participant too, depending on what their next step strategy is at the end of the program.
Ethan, this might be a good time, since you just mentioned it. Who are the partners with us on this program? Do you want to give a shout out to who they are?
Yep. So again, we just launched, and so we really just initially spoke with Iowa Area Development Group. So Rand Fisher and the folks at IADG have been super supportive of rural Iowans for a long time, and they jumped on board. And they are the sponsors for some of those next step expenses that we will help cover.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Darcy.
Yeah.
So if anybody does want to go to the site, here's a link that you can find. And of course, you can pause that as well and kind of see where that is. But I just to say, hey, if you have questions about this, absolutely go visit the website. Ask all those questions. Find out what's going on with it. We say cohort 1, that leads me to believe, Ethan, that there's cohort 2 coming your way soon.
That is true. We're trying to manage how we're going to organize those new individuals who are going to be applying. So it's a rolling application. So now anybody can jump on and apply. But when we get enough good, good's not the right word, but enough participants or applicants who are a good fit for the program, we'll go ahead and roll forward with that next group, if that makes sense. So yeah, we do have Innovator Group 1 has started. Our first group session's next week, but feel free to apply if you'd like.
Well, let's talk about who that good fit is, because I mean, obviously the program is designed for somebody that is, at least partway through the process. I'm guessing maybe it's more than an idea at this point. So walk me through exactly who should apply. Who would be a good candidate for this program?
Okay, so when you talk about innovation and technology, there's not a clear black and white definition of what exactly that is, right? So what we're sticking to is, if you believe as the entrepreneur, if you believe that you have an innovative concept or innovative idea or some type of innovative technology that you're trying to commercialize, then you would be a good applicant for the program. Even if you're kind of on the edge, I still encourage you to apply, because what we'll do is we'll see your application on the back end, and then we'll decide if you're really the type of person we're looking for. But if you're not, we can guide you to the right resource as well. So if you believe that you have an innovative concept that's scalable, then I welcome you to apply.
Fantastic. So yeah, lots of great opportunities there. And so, I mean, it sounds like the real thing is just go to the website and apply. And the website that we just had up, let me go back to that for just a moment. The website that we just had up, that's a great way to, it's not going to come up. That's a great way to go on, actually apply, and just make your application right there.
Absolutely.
So right there in the top right-hand corner, it basically says application, right?
That's right. And right on the front page too, if you when you scroll down just a little bit, there's a apply here button too. So that's a good way to apply.
Great. What sort of information are folks going to need when they do that application?
The application is short, so it's very contextual. So it's just really about you, where you're from, your innovative idea. And that's basically it. I think there's just a few questions. There are a couple questions about whether or not you are a current business owner, or if you're in business yet, but just answer those authentically, and you can have a section at the end to articulate some more details if you'd like, but it's a short and easy application.
Great.
And if people want to know more about the program, they can call our center and we can connect them with Ethan so he can really talk them through and find out where they're at, and if the program would be a good fit, or if it would be the first step to maybe some other things too. We have a client who's going through this program to prepare him for something else in the future. So those are the kinds of things that we do. But they can call our center they can call me actually at 515-574-1996. Or they can reach out, through message on Facebook or email us as well. But thank you. I have to think about that though, because we've moved our offices, as you guys know, and I still keep wanting to refer to the old phone number. So I always have to stop there for a minute. 574. That's right. But yeah, they will be happy to connect them with Ethan and kind of have that one-on-one conversation if they're not sure.
Great. Very good. Okay, well, Ethan, thanks so much for joining us on the program today and sharing about the Innovators program with us. Hopefully we see great things coming from this program, and new business ideas and wealth growing in rural Iowa from this program's availability. So thanks so much for joining us. We sure appreciate it.
Thank all of you. This is a great opportunity for me to articulate these things to your part of the state. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to continue talking about some other things. If you can, feel free to stay with us. If you have to run, we certainly understand that too. So, Chris, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that Main Street Fort Dodge has coming up, and kind of a big award. Cheryl saw it sitting on your desk back there and had to say, well, you got to bring that out. I think we've still got you muted, Chris.
I'm just talking away over here. So this is our award. There we go. I think you can see it. It's a little crooked. We were really excited that Carol Lilly, a specialist from Main Street, Iowa, came to Fort Dodge on Monday to the city council meeting and presented not just our program, but the city of Fort Dodge, this award for $5 million of private investment in the downtown. And that's within the last 3 years. So that is purchasing buildings downtown and also rehabilitation. When we combine that with the $3.4 million worth of grants and some of the city funding that has also gone into the downtown, we are very close to $13 million of investment in the downtown in our buildings and infrastructure, which is an incredible number. That does not include anything that the county has done on the courthouse or some of the buildings that they own. I mean, when we start adding that project into that, it really raises. We plan on being very close to that $10 million benchmark award next year because of all the projects that are currently going on. And this really doesn't rest on our program. It rests on the fact that everybody is understanding the opportunities and values of Fort Dodge. So currently we're working with 4 different developers for new projects in the downtown and the neighborhood just to the north, the Lincoln neighborhood, and the Central River District. So when those projects get up and going, I think that development's going to be fast and furious. So exciting. So thank you, Cheryl, for reminding me. How could I forget that? But there's so many things going on right now.
Well, you're just not really good about promoting yourself. You do a great job of promoting Main Street Fort Dodge, but Chris always forgets that, there's those other kudos out there we need to be announcing.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. No, we have great volunteers. It was very fun to do our biannual report to the city on Monday. It's really explaining that process and being able to say that we have that amount in the district. But we have 1,100 volunteer hours in the last 3.5 years, which equates to about $285,000 of dollars, right? And so when you think about that, think of it like equity in a business. This is equity in our program when we go to reach out for more grants. So if it wasn't for our volunteers like Cheryl and others, we wouldn't have a program. All right, moving on.
Well, talking a little bit about volunteers, the Fog Walk, right? There's some volunteers.
There's some volunteers, and the Fog Walk is coordinated by Lydia Shore with the Greater Fort Dodge Growth Alliance. She had, I think, over 110 volunteers. They were both in the downtown and then out in the industrial district by Walmart, Kentucky. I always call it Kentucky Colonel. I know that's not the right thing. KC. I'm picking up shopping bags and stuff in that area. But we probably had a couple tons of garbage out of the downtown. So thank you to everybody who came down, cleaned up, and really value what's going on down here.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready for RAGBRAI. So, every moment helps if we keep it clean. And like Cheryl, she goes out every morning and sweeps in front of her business just to keep things clean. So we need everybody to step out, and hopefully we can start our Wednesday morning mob cleanups that we did for a while. Our flash cleans is what we call them. So.
Well, the weather is certainly getting nice enough to maybe do something like that. So that'll be great. Okay, Cheryl, let's talk a little bit about a deadline that is coming up here in the next couple days, because if folks want to take part in the great opportunity, the clock is ticking.
Yes, exactly. Leadership Iowa applications are due as of May 1st, which is Saturday. Hard to believe, but anybody that is interested in being part of Leadership Iowa, thanks, Nikki. We want to encourage them. They can nominate themselves. If you know somebody that should be nominated, please go into the ABI, Iowa Industry and Business Associates website, and go to Leadership Iowa and fill out the application for them and get them submitted on there. It is a 1-year program. It does require that you donate, that you set aside about 3 days per month. But I will guarantee you that everyone will find it more than worthwhile. It's great. I still talk about it all the time.
Perfect. Okay, Darcy, so let's talk about some of the other things that are going on and some questions that I'm sure you're getting with Sbdc constantly. I know, I have family that's in the restaurant industry, and they were saying, oh, restaurant revitalization, it's not there yet. So has that kicked off now?
It has. It will actually, the portal opens on Friday, which is tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And that basically is just for folks to go out to restaurants.sba.gov to open their account, so to speak. And that is tomorrow. And there's no first come, first serve kind of thing on that. You just want to get your account open before Monday, because on Monday, the applications go live at 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time. There is, if you go out to the SBA.gov website and find the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, they have done, in my opinion, with this funding opportunity, a really nice job of making sure that people are prepared. I'll tell you, the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, I worked with a few folks on that. That was a nightmare. This one is much simpler. They've reduced some of the barriers. They actually have a sample application. So you can go download the application and go fill it all in. So on Monday, when you're able to hop right on, you're able to do that and have all your information. So now really is a good time to gather all the documentation that you need, and it's all listed out there. This fund will benefit restaurants that were open prior to January 1st, 2019, for those that were partially open in 2019, for those that began operations on or between January 1st of 2020 through March 10th of 2021, and for those restaurants that were not open but did incur expenses after March 11th of 2021. So really, just about anybody who's touching kind of that restaurant, dining, food industry. Now, there are certain industries that will require additional documentation. Some of those are, you have to prove that at least 33% of your revenue came from food sales. So if you're thinking of like a golf course with a dining room, or could be a food truck, things like that, they want to make sure that food truck's probably not the right example. A brewery, a winery,
bowling alley,
yeah, those that serve food, but it's not really maybe their primary thing. But we can help folks. I've got several clients. We actually sent out an email to all of our past SBDC clients with kind of a list of all the documentation and things that you need. I will tell you too that if you use Square, Toast, Clover, or Aloha, you can bypass the registration on Friday, and you can work directly with that point of sale provider to complete your application. And that's going to make it really nice. I've got a client who utilizes Square, and she can pull all the information she needs out of Square. It'll make life so much easier for her. And also Square this afternoon at 2:30 Central Daylight Time. We'll have a Q&A for those folks that use Square and plan on applying through them, kind of walking them through the process and what they're going to need. If you go out to sellercommunity.com, you can be a part of that Q&A. I believe they're going to record it and put it back out there on the sellercommunity.com website. And again, that's just for those that utilize Square as their POS system. So there's a lot of info out on that SBA.gov site. And I encourage you, if you are looking, don't wait until Monday morning to start gathering your documentation. It is a first come, first serve. Priority one, they're actually going to pull some applicants that have applied for PPP funding, and they're going to do some tests running on those, and then they'll open it up. Priority one is women-owned businesses, veterans, and those that are economically and socially disadvantaged business owners. And they'll process those on a first come, first serve for about 21 days. And then on the 22nd day, they'll just dig in and start going with how they fell into the order coming in. And all information regarding the application will be done through that account that they sign up for on Friday. So if the SBA's, and people review these, so if there's a question or something that's missing, they will put questions back out on that account. So we encourage people to check their accounts frequently while their application's being processed. So that's a really big deal. And so we're glad to see that that's gonna finally, you know, we've been talking about it for a while, but that we finally have opening dates and all of that. The Shuttered Venue Operators Grant finally went live. It was to go live on Saturday, but a lot of people were not happy with having to take a Saturday, so they moved it to Monday, which made a few of my clients not happy because they were all ready for Saturday. And then, but those applications did go through, and we've got several in our area that have applied for that, and that can make a significant difference for those businesses. So we're pretty happy that we could be involved in that. And that's, you know, some of the things that we do. So as Ethan was alluding to earlier, really anything business related, we probably have a connection or have an expert, or we're experts ourselves in that, which kind of leads me to where I'm at today. Kimberly Tiefenthaler, our regional director, and myself are in Sioux Falls, and we're at a family business conference. We deal a lot with family businesses, and sometimes they're very unique situations. And, you know, because you have a lot of emotion in your family, how do we get through some of those kinds of situations? You know, a conversation's not a contract. You know, we need to make sure things are legal. And so we're here to learn more about how we can better serve our family businesses. So I'm really excited about being here and being physically here, so we can shut everything off and just focus on the speakers in front of us. And then I also wanted just to remind folks that later this year, Kimberly and I are going to be going for our certification as an exit planning advisor. I think that's in November or October that we're going to be taking that certification class. So we're seeing a lot of businesses looking to exit out. And so that's a service that we feel that we can bring a lot of value to our region. And so we're looking forward to being able to make that a smoother transition for some folks. So that's what I have for this week.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what we've got coming up next week that we're going to be talking about. And I believe this is right off of the Main Street Fort Dodge page. But Frontier Days, it's coming back. Very, very exciting stuff. So we're going to be finding out all about what's going on with Frontier Days. But, you know, the parade's back and everything that we love about Frontier Days is going to be happening this year. Roaring 20s is, I believe, the theme this year. So I look forward to seeing all of you in your flapper dresses for the parade.
Oh, that's going to be quite the sight, isn't it? That'll be cool. Well, and yeah, I know a lot of people are excited to hear that's coming back. It's just really nice to see outdoor activities coming around, and, you know, like Darcy indicated, being up there at Sioux Falls and a conference and being able to talk to everybody face to face and have those conversations. I know it's really making people feel better about where we are today. So
yeah, it's really nice to have some of these events that are coming back. You know, a lot of the music festivals are back. They're happening, and so very exciting to see some of those things where we can get together face to face and enjoy some music and other great entertainment. So very, very exciting, and we'll find out more about Frontier Days in our program next week. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you to all of our participants. Of course, Kimberly Tiefenthaler and/or Darcy Swan with America's Sbdc of Iowa, and also Chris Patrick from Main Street Fort Dodge, and Cheryl O'Hearn with Spin Market and Digital. I'm Jed Burns, Market Manager of Alpha Media. And of course, thank you so much to our guests, Ethan this week, joining us and telling us all about the Innovators program. So again, we'll do this again next week, coming up at 9:00 a.m., just like we do each week on the Main Street Fort Dodge Facebook page. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.